just watched this, and this movie is as bad as everyone was saying. It's wow, it's incredibly boring, terrible characters. I mean, they're both junkies, and they don't seem to. I mean, they go to like a drug rehab program, but they just go right back to using hardcore drugs. The movie makes no sense. The villain is terrible, absolutely terrible. This movie is bizarre because it's like they've been trying to make this movie for like 20 years, and this is the best that they could come up with. I can't believe that this was greenlit. So Bill Skarsgård, he's a good actor. I mean, I'm not like like some people seem really obsessed with him. He's all right. I thought he was a weak villain in John Wick 4. I liked John Wick 4, but I thought he was a weak villain. Um, but he comes from a long acting family, and he's okay. I think in this he's not very good, but FKA Twigs, and yes, that's her name. What? Apparently, she's like an English musician. I think she should stick to music because she can't really act that well. I'm sorry, she's just not a good actress. And personally, I don't think she's very attractive either. But whatever. That's just subjective. But I think she's kind of weird looking, and I'm not that attractive. I'm sorry. Danny Houston, good actor, been in a lot of stuff. Terrible villain in this. He's basically just like wannabe Euro trash that they love going to their opera and they're with their snobby friends, and he has this group of people that they're just lame snobs, and FKA Twigs, gosh, can't they use her real name on IMDb? I mean, but I guess it's like cross promotion, so that they think they'll get people to see the movie because she's a musician or something. I don't care. So Shelly, her friend has this video of the villain killing someone. Then she sends it to her because she's being followed. Um, so basically, her friend gets her killed, Shelly, and Danny Houston in this, like, he has like a weird superpower, which is so weird. Who's the guy in the original Crow, the villain? This movie has none of the charm of the original Crow. Has none of the, I mean, the look, the direction of the original Crow. The city in the original is like a character upon itself. Michael Wincott, way better better actor, honestly, better villain. This movie's incredibly boring. Like, and it's an hour and 50 minutes, probably like an hour 41 or 2, um, for screen time, and it's incredibly boring, terrible characters. They both look weird in my opinion. I mean, why Bill like has these terrible face tattoos? I mean, he kind of looks like the Joker from Suicide Squad, and did that work out well? I don't think so. So why would you want to like try and look like that? It's just it's just very strange. I've been trying to make this movie for 20 years, and this is the script they come up with. But yeah, Danny Houston has this superpower, I don't think they really explain it. It seems like maybe some stuff was cut for Danny Houston to explain it. He basically like could whisper in people's ears, then their eyes turn white, and then they killed, and then they end themselves. And um and then I think that he like eats their soul, I think, but it's not really said or shown. But I'm pretty sure he like absorbs their soul to maybe prolong his life. I'm not sure. That's kind of what I'm guessing. And then he finds out that they kill both of them, Skarsgård and Twiggy, and in a really stupid death. I mean, they put plastic over their faces, and then but with Twiggy, she can she has her hands like right here. She could just grab the plastic and pull it down, and it would break. Why doesn't she do that? Now with Skarsgård, they don't show his hands. Maybe they're holding him down, so maybe he can't. But why doesn't she do that? I mean, I guess they would just kill her, but you think you would do that if you're dying and you can't breathe. It's so it's so dumb. Like this director, you can't even do a scene where you kill both of them correctly. What the hell? I mean, the direction in this, he just seemed uninterested and bored. I mean, I guess I hope he got paid a lot of money because this is like maybe the biggest flop of the year with Borderlands. So I don't think it's gonna help his career. I mean, he did Ghosts in the Machine. Ghost in the Shell. Sorry, which I actually thought was not terrible. I think I actually own it on Blu-ray. He did Snow White and the Huntsman. I've never watched that. Rupert Sanders. So I thought Ghost in the Shell wasn't terrible. So I will give him that. But I think the direction in that was way better than this. And this movie just has a generic modern movie look. Nothing interesting. It's all kind of washed out. He's in this generic kind of city, and he's all emo, and he's kind of like a cuck too. Like he goes to rehab, and she's there, and then they escape because the villains are gonna get to her there. Um, and then they just go and party. Like they go and do a bunch of drugs, and they just go party, and then they don't leave the city, even though that she knows and he knows now that they're looking for her because she has a phone that they can't find that has a video of Danny Houston on it. But they don't leave the city. They're staying in these like lavish hotels, and I'm asking, how do they afford this? They don't have jobs. I mean, it's like these nice hotels. I mean, it's gonna be expensive, and like, how do they afford this? The movie doesn't answer any of it. I guess maybe because they show her mom later, and she seems like she has some money, so maybe that's how. Um, yeah, and then and then they're partying at some club in the city, and their friends like, hey, that chick's dead. They're looking for you. You need to get out of here. Get out of the city. And she's like, oh, really? Like, what the heck? Just leave the city. Like, so stupid. Yeah, the face tattoos are terrible. Generic bad guys. Ugh, man. And there's not even that much action until the end. And I honestly wasn't that impressed with it. I will give the movie this. I liked how they showed him heal. Like they kept showing that. So I liked that. I mean, the original did that too, but this does it way more. So I like that. Um, but he just sucks. Like he just is like a pathetic loser, and he sucks. And he keeps dying. Like he dies and then he goes to this world where this, vaguely foreign guy is like, "Oh, hey, you're now going to be the crow and you're going to do revenge because of the death of these people of your girl." And then he throws him back into the world, and and then he goes back to the scene where he was killed, and then this corrupt cop comes in looking for the phone because for some reason they couldn't find it. And then he fights him. They both kill each other, and then I think he goes back. Yeah, I think so. And then the guy pushes him back into the world, and then later he's at his friend's house, and then they find him because Danny Houston wants him captured alive because he wants to eat his soul. I assume that's what he's doing. The movie doesn't explain this very well. I mean, just have some dialogue explaining what's up with Danny Houston. Like so weird. And then he's fighting them, and he gets killed again, but this time he isn't healing. And then he goes back to the guy, and then he's like, "Why am I not healing?" And then he's like, "Oh, because you have doubt about your love for her, because he found out something about Twiggy and he didn't like it. I didn't even care." And then he's like, "Hey, okay, well, my soul for hers, because she's like in hell, I guess, even though it's never said, but she's, somewhere dark." And then he's like, "Oh, well, this is a big deal. Are you sure about this?" And he says yes. So then he gives his powers back, and then he throws him back into the world. So like he just sucks. It's like he just keeps failing and failing and failing and failing. And he gets thrown back into the world, and then he fights some of the guys again, and then he basically starts, hunting them down and killing them. Very generic action, definitely trying to be kind of like John Wick. I don't like the look of the Crow. I don't like the look of Skarsgård. He only has the face paint because his friend who he was staying with was a tattoo artist who did all of his crappy, shitty tattoos on him. So yeah, good job. Um, and then he just takes some of the black paint that he uses for his tattoos and he puts it on his face. So just very boring, stupid way to get the kind of the Crow look on his face. Yeah, and then he starts hunting all of them down, and yeah, just stick to the original. I really like the original. The original has great direction, great cinematography. Like the city looks great. It's its own character. Um, the Crow isn't. It's just kind of flying around over his head sometimes. I guess shitting on him maybe. and and it just isn't really a character like it is in the original. And in the original, it's like he can heal and he's basically invincible unless you kill the Crow, which is kind of always kind of near him. And then Michael Wincott figures that out and then tries to kill the Crow. And I mean, at least then he's just not this invincible, Terminator. Um, but although he sucks and he keeps failing and getting thrown back into like this afterworld that's like a broken down rail station, so weird. So weird that this is the movie they decided to make. And yeah, and then he goes, picks off some people, and it's incredibly boring. And then he goes to um the opera house, and at least then you get a big action scene. I didn't think it was that great though. Trying to be John Wick but failing. He's killing them all. Um, I guess one of the deaths that was okay is he takes his sword and sticks it right through the guy's head. Kind of cuts off half of his head, and although it's CGI, so it doesn't even look that good. And then he kills the like kind of the main henchman, and he kills this the main henchwoman, Laura Byrne. And then him and her talk for a while about how she never really wanted to kill people, and she was kind of sucked into this life, and who cares? And he kills her. And then he goes and tracks down Danny Houston in his mansion. Um, and Danny Houston and them fight. Danny Houston tries to, I think, suck his soul out, and then they both get thrown into the afterworld of the train station, and then Danny Houston is like sucked into the hell, I guess, by like it almost looks like Alien the Alien from the creatures from Alien. It's like okay, or like what is going on there? Why are there these weird creatures that are in he's standing like in a little pond, and then they start to kind of they're like floating around, and then he gets sucked in there and he dies. And then FK Twiggy comes up, and they basically he exchanges his life for hers, and then she wakes up and she's being saved by medics, and one is that guy that their guy, I guess he's like their guide in the afterworld. And I don't know if this is in the comic books, but and he's the guide in the afterworld, and then he's like, he tried to save you. So then he's, I guess, in the normal world too, but they can't save him, so he's dead. He trades his life for hers. How romantic. And but then I was watching another review, and they're like, so it's like just nothing. Is Danny Houston still alive then? Because it's like they almost go back in time. This is like right after she was killed, and then the medics get there, revive her, can't revive him. But then it's like, wait, but then is Danny Houston alive? Is all of his henchmen alive? Is Laura Byrne alive? I don't know. I guess so. I guess none of this took place. And then, like, who knows? Then are they still after her? So then maybe she just gets killed right after that, right? Because then she would still have the phone with the video on it, and she'd be alive, right? I mean, I don't. If someone has an explanation, please comment below. Let me know. And if you could do me a favor and smash that like button, it'd be great. Really helps the channel. Let me see. The movie opens up with Skarsgård, and a horse of his is being killed. It's like wrapped around with wire. Apparently that's in the comic book, and it's like really important. And this, I was like, why does this movie open up with a horse being killed? It's I guess it's like to symbolize the loss that he's felt throughout his life, and like it seemed like his mom is like an alcoholic or something, um and then later they show that his house or trailer that they lived in was burning down. So I guess it's to show that he's had a hard life, and um the loss that he suffered about this horse that he really loves or something. Terrible. Yeah, terrible movie. Uh, one of the worst I've seen in a while. I mean, this is maybe on par with Madam Web. This at least had some action, better action in it, I'd say, than Madam Web. But it's it's kind of in that ballpark, I'd say. Madam Web, Black Adam, just really bad movies. So I guess that's it though. Check it out, I guess, if you want to watch a really terrible, terrible remake. There's really not much good about it. I really hate his tattoos. Like he has just so many all like on his face, and I don't like his hair either. It's like this weird mullet kind of going on. They're both bad characters. I mean, in the original movie, like they're not junkies. Like she dies, it's their wedding night, right? Didn't they just get married and then she gets killed and it's I mean, you don't know that much about her, but it's like tragic and then you like him and he even there's even a scene in the original where he's telling this lady to not be a junkie and that your daughter needs you and so like just way better characters in the original and everything is better. It's just like I can't believe that this is the movie that they made. It has a 23% on Rotten Tomatoes, 64 verified ratings from audience. Really? People gave it that high of a score? The opening scene, which features a white horse injured by barbed wire, is a reference from the graphic novel of The Crow by James O'Barr. In the graphic novel, Eric has visions of seeing a white horse running and getting stuck in barbed wire. The film's first trailer was met with overwhelmingly negative response. Even prior to the film's release, Bill Skarsgård was critical about the decision to change the original ending in favor of a sequel hook, stating that he preferred something more definite. However, he was prohibited from elaborating on this by the studio during promotional interviews. I mean, yeah, I guess there's a sequel hook because he's just kind of walking through the afterlife train station or whatever it is, and I don't know. I guess you could assume maybe he could get back into that world. Luke Evans was cast but pulled out the lead role in 2015. Jack Houston was cast but dropped out due to schedule conflict. Jack Jack's uncle Danny Houston was eventually cast in the film. Well, I think you dodged a bullet on that one. But I mean, Jack Houston was in the remake of Ben-Hur. Maybe I should watch that. I'm sure that's great. But I like Jack Houston because he was the man that had like half a face in Boardwalk Empire, and it was a sniper. But anyways, Jason Momoa left the project. Director Corin Hardy left the project. The movie had been in pre-production. It was reportedly 5 weeks from commencement of filming. Well, I think you dodged a bullet there, Jason Momoa. Creative differences are supposedly the reason behind their departure. It's like, why do you write this script? It's so boring. Danny Houston was originally cast to play the villain in 2015, but dropped out of the film. Okay. Yeah, and the music is like the original had some great music in it. This is like just some terrible songs. Uh, some of the score I didn't mind, so I'll give it that. But the actual pieces of music that they use throughout are I thought terrible. And like watch the original. It's got some great music and it's edited well into the movie. Graphic designer Nick Project has mentioned that Bill Skarsgård came up with the idea for the poem tattoo on his back seen in the movie. The poem is called Despair by H.P. Lovecraft. So let's see how much this made. Finally, let's see. So the original made 50,800,000. So in today's money, that's got to be what, like 100 million? This made 21 million. Man, And the budget was $50 million. Wow, and it made 21.1 million. So huge bomb, massive bomb. The original budget 23 million. It says box office 94 million. Huh. Maybe that's with overseas too. So the original's a classic. This is a total turd. I would just avoid it. Go watch the original. I mean, even the sequel, I think it's the second one. I mean, even the sequels to The Crow are better than this, I'd probably say. So, but yeah, that's about it. So, see you next time.